Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day, great afternoon, great night, just a great time in general when you're watching this. So today I wanted to do a review slash commentary on the movie The Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's a movie I found on Netflix many years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago. It came out in 2016. It's about an hour and 26 minutes. I've only ever found it on Netflix. It might be on Shudder. It's probably on Shudder. Honestly, it's a horror movie. I only ever found it on Netflix, and I watched it a few times before I did this review. I hadn't watched it for a while, mainly just saw people's videos on it, heard people talk about it. I kind of just wanted to do my own little take on it, because it's a little hidden gem of a horror movie. Because you don't really hear people talk about it, you wouldn't really know about it. But it has Brian Cox in it. If you know who that is, he was Stryker in the original X-Men series. He's done a couple of other comic book roles. He's in a lot of good stuff. Brian Cox is a really funny actor. The movie's about an hour and 26 minutes. It's a pretty quick watch, not gonna lie. But overall, once the movie starts going, it starts getting a lot better as, it progresses. But I thought it was a pretty interesting movie, and in my little minor summary, it would be it's a 7, honestly. It's definitely, I would say it's a 9 if you're a new horror watcher, but because I've watched so many different horror movies, from B movies, A movies, just even C movies. I've watched some pretty bad horror movies, so probably D tier too. But I've watched some pretty bad horror movies. As I've watched more, I'd say it's about a 7 out of 10. Once you've seen it, you kind of just start calling everything. I mean, even when I first saw it, I kind of already started guessing everything that was already happening, because it's so honestly random that it is what it is throughout the movie, that you can kind of just piece it together if you know as much about witchcraft as I do. So a little brief synopsis of the movie, if you just want to end it here and then go watch the movie before I explain the rest of it. Basically, the movie is a father and son mortician, morgue owner, workers. They get a Jane Doe body, an undetermined female body, and they start opening her up, and as they open her up more, you get to see more creepy things happening. So the more the autopsy happens, more stuff happens. That's my brief little synopsis. You can click away, go watch the movie before I continue the rest of this. I just came back from a gym, that's why I'm all sweaty and kind of talking all crazy. I wanted to kind of get through this, edit it, get my shower stretch. So the movie opens with a horrendous murder. There's blood everywhere, bodies everywhere, and you get to hear one of the sheriff's deputies say to the other sheriff, it doesn't look like there was any sign of a forced entrance. It looks like they were all trying to get out, actually. And it's kind of funny to hear that, because it's like, whoa, what the fuck is gonna happen for the rest of this movie? And it really is some foreshadowing of what's going to happen as the movie progresses. So they find the Jane Doe body in the basement of this house. She's partially exposed. Now, does that mean because she was partially exposed, they let her out? Or did they already find the body? Who knows? We'll kind of figure it out-ish as the story goes. I really hope there's a second one, because the ending kind of leaves it on a cliffhanger. But even if it isn't, it's good enough for just one movie. It's like its own little cult classic. We get a little montage as the body is getting taken to the coroners, the father and son. They are listening to some music, jamming out, talking over this body, and the father is teaching the son more about identifying injuries and identifying how the body they already have dies. It's actually kind of interesting, because throughout this, even though the son has looked like he's done it for a while, the father is constantly correcting him on stuff, so it's almost like it's subtly telling you that he is forgetting everything because he's trying to move on from it, which is something throughout the movie. That's kind of the trope of this movie. The son wants to get out, but because he doesn't get out, he ends up succumbing and dying with his father. because his father was never going to leave it. He really wanted to stay with the family. He even says later that he is a traditionalist because he puts bells on the ankles of the dead bodies. There's a moment that happens later, because I'm going to kind of skip over some of their conversation that happens a little bit. The father walks away for a bit, and the son is talking with his girlfriend. The girlfriend wants to see a corpse, which kind of red flag a little bit, and the dad uses this moment to like literally jump scare her and shakes the bell at her, and we get to see the corpses that we get kind of freaked out with later. In fact, we even see a couple of their faces. One we don't see till later, which is kind of a fake out moment. The son is trying to leave with the girlfriend kind of right after this to go on a date night, but the Jane Doe ends up arriving and they kind of overhear stuff. So the son decides to stay and help the dad, which he's only doing because his mother died a long time ago because she killed herself, which you don't find out till later. We just know that the death is hard. I thought it was cancer, I believe, when I first watched this. I never thought she killed herself. But there's like a little montage that kind of happens after this where the son and the dad are setting up her body, getting stuff happening, and they slowly start identifying things about her. One is her eyes are already clouded over, but her body looks fine. Her joints are broken because they look like they were strapped, but there's no lingering marks. They start just finding little pieces about her. She has no rigor mortis. She looks completely fine. And one of the things I want to mention here is I found out later that apparently throughout this whole thing, maybe in one or two parts, this isn't a stunt double. This is a dummy or anything like that. This is a grown woman the whole time. They find that her tongue is cut out as well, and the father attributes this to an old prostitution ring that kind of did the same thing with the hands and cutting out the tongues. So they start opening her up, and right before they open her up, the radio kind of chatters and makes them think, oh, well, at least makes the son think to stop for a second, and then they continue, and as they continue, there's more radio static, and she bleeds like a normal person, like there is normal circulatory happening. As the son is taking more samples, we see that one of the vials burst in the refrigerator, which is super weird. You know, what was that? Her lungs are charred. You know, we get to see some damage happening there. There's weird sounds that start pulling them away. And as the son goes to investigate, he finds the cat that they had. You see the cat here and there. It ends up dying. And the dad takes it super hard because it was essentially the last thing of his wife he had. Loved this cat. It started being a pain in the ass, and then it eventually died. It looks like it got eaten, like part of it was chunked out of, which is super fucking weird. I also don't even know why they just killed this cat. It's super random to just kill a cat. I don't know why that has anything to like bad to do with a witch, which is, yeah, spoiler, the chick on the table is a witch, but I haven't gotten to why or how she is one. But why she would even kill a cat, because I mean cats are heavily liked by witches, so I don't get it. So they start cutting her open more, and they find Jimson weed in her stomach along with a cloth and a tooth wrapped in it. The Jimson weed is to, well, you'll find out here in a hot second. So this is all the stuff they did to her, and they start piecing things together. They bound her, they ripped out her tongue, they poisoned her, they paralyzed her, they forced her to swallow the cloth with her tooth in it, they stabbed her a bunch, they burned her, and they either tattooed or carved the stuff on the cloth into her. And I'm just like, yeah, she is pissed. And they essentially kind of start putting together, and well, it kind of takes a little bit, but eventually they will start putting together that these people essentially indirectly created her and turned her into a witch by doing all this shit to her. If you've ever seen Silent Hill, that's kind of the same plot there. This girl who wasn't really a witch, they turned into one and they became her worst nightmare, which is what it seems to be what happened here. We get a few more jump scares and things. You know, slowly they kind of start having these jump scary moments. They accidentally kill the girlfriend because she's supposed to come back at 11 later to get the boyfriend, so that way they can actually still go have their date night. But because of all the freaky shit that's been happening, the father and the son hadn't finished yet. All the mind-fucky stuff that's happening is pretty interesting, and you get to see displays of her power here and there, and it all kind of culminates into the dad figuring out that she needs/wants someone to take the curse's place, take the pain, all the stuff that is hindering her down so she can stop suffering and kind of sort of enact her revenge. So that's what he does. They don't get that far. She gets just healed enough, and then the son kills him, but they don't realize this. They don't realize that that would have been happening or anything like that. The father's just in so much pain later that he asks the son to kill him. Now, I started jumping around stuff near the end, but that's kind of where it all starts culminating towards the end, and I don't want to give too much away. I still want people to see it, even though I'm still doing spoilery stuff. It's just if I keep mentioning jump scare and stuff like that. But because it's on Netflix, I don't want to be trying to find a whole bunch of clips for everyone. It's really difficult to do that. That's why I'm really doing a lot of Netflixy movies right now, so I don't have to go and find clips. But once I get a recorder is when I'm going to start doing movies that I own. But anyways, not the point. They basically figure out later that she is alive, and the father does give himself up, as I said. The ending to the movie is them finding the son's body because she Jedi mind tricked him into thinking he was safe, and then she killed him anyways. And she gets a little toe wiggle at the end, and you know, the witch is free. Let's see what she does, or if there is another one. I hope you enjoyed this little kind of retelling story of the movie Autopsy of Jane Doe. I'm sorry it's kind of short. I know my other reviews for movies have been a little bit longer, but honestly, with how quick this movie is, I've cut out a lot of the either jump scare stuff or little moments they talk about, because literally the ending starts being where it just nosedives and everything. But it's great for a new horror watcher because you get to slowly build with it. But as someone who's seen it a bunch, I can understand that it's better to leave out all the little moments and focus on the bigger moments that you get. I hope you go and check out this movie. I hope you found it was as interesting as me. It's a little gem, and a little gem that I definitely cut into a finer gem for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, guys.